I get started, I just want to say hello. I didn't know I was speaking to just girls until I walked into the school, and honestly, I got really excited because middle school boys really intimidate me. They're very scary. I thought they were scary when I was in middle school, and I still think they're scary. So when I heard that I was just talking to you girls, I was really excited. So yes, my name is Paige, and I am Miss Tennessee this year. Governor spokesperson for character education. Just got done talking at the elementary school. The theme for this year is respect. Now, I won't give you the same talk that I give my elementary schoolers since you all are a little bit older. So actually, I'm going to sit down and want to have kind of a heart-to-heart with you all, because I didn't have a good time in middle school. I really didn't, and I'll get more in that in just a little bit. But I am a nurse at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. I'm a night shift nurse. I'm actually working tonight. So as soon as I get done talking to you all, I'm going home to go to bed to get back up at 6 o'clock tonight and work until 8 o'clock in the morning. So I work overnight when everyone is sleeping, taking care of the babies. So, fun fact that I like to tell you all, I spent 4 years as a professional clogger. If you know anything about the pageant world, there's a talent portion, and I am a professional clogger. Spent 4 years in Pigeon Forge at the Comedy Barn Theater in Hatfield and McCoy interviewed. So if you've ever been up to Pigeon Forge and seen either of those places, that's where I spent 4 years of my life, 6 days a week. So that's a little bit about me, but let's see if this reaches. Hope it does. Because that I am just talking to girls, I want to have a heart-to-heart with you all because I did not have a good time in middle school. I will say this overarching kind of theme is going to be surrounding respect, but I'm not going to give the same talk like I do to my elementary schoolers, because we go through and we chant and we scream and we talk about being respectful to yourself, being respectful to others, being respectful to other people's things that maybe by the time you're in middle school you probably already know about. So I'm not going to spend much time talking about respect itself, but more of what it looks like in middle school, especially for girls. Now, I will date myself and say, when I was in 6th grade, Instagram came out as soon as I started in 6th grade. When I was in 7th grade, Snapchat came out. Does everyone have Snapchat and Instagram? Surely everybody does. If you don't, that's okay. More power to you, because I think it's better that way. But Snapchat and Instagram just came out. The iPhone had just came out when I was coming into middle school. So that really dated myself. But needless to say, social media had just became a really huge thing, and everyone was joining and everyone was talking about it. I didn't like middle school. I will honestly say that I was an ugly duckling. I really was. I had the most messed up teeth anyone has ever seen. I'm telling you, my 2 front teeth were literally shaped like a V, like this. And I had a tooth up here, and it just wasn't pretty. I pretty much had a unibrow. It was awful. So I had a unibrow across my head, and I had a birthmark on my forehead that was the shape of Texas. And I wore sweats every day because I was self-conscious. I really wanted to fit in. I was desperate to fit in with the other girls, so I'd follow all the fashion trends, you know. When I was in middle school, it was wearing Vans. It was wearing Vans and Nike Elite socks and wearing track shorts and then an American Eagle V-neck. That was the thing when I was in middle school, and infinity scarves were a thing in middle school. I don't think anybody wears scarves anymore, but no, it was an awful trend. But I was so desperate to fit in, and middle school is where my friends kind of started taking advantage of me, because you know, you're kind of finding yourself in middle school. You're finding your talents, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and I found that I really loved being in school. I loved academia. I loved acing my tests, and I found that I really excelled in the academic world. And a lot of my friends started taking advantage of me because they would start cheating off of me. They would ask me to do their homework, And I felt like if I didn't let them do that, that I wouldn't have any friends. And I really honestly feel like the only reason why I had quote unquote friends was because of my brain. And if you're in here and you feel the same way, I promise you, it's not as bad as you seem. I really didn't like middle school, I will tell you. Does anyone really not like middle school? And it's okay to admit. It's a very awkward time, especially for girls. It's very awkward. And I also didn't like middle school because when I was in two stories in this one. When I was in 7th grade, I had my first boyfriend. I know. Does anyone in here have a boyfriend? Please tell me no. That's okay, I'll forgive you. But I had my very first boyfriend. He was, I believe, he played shortstop and he was a pitcher on the baseball team. I was head over heels for him. I'm telling you, it's the first boy I said I love you to. And you don't know what love is in middle school, but I said I love you to him. And he broke my heart after about a year and a couple months. And then, honestly, that's long for a middle school relationship. My dad was a pastor when I was in middle school. And so I was made fun of constantly because I dressed more conservatively. I wasn't allowed to wear short shorts, and I couldn't wear like V-necks and things like that. So I'd always get teased about being too religious and things like that. And I promise you, you will remember that. Anything that happens right now, if you're in a situation of bullying, I promise you, you'll carry that for the rest of your life. And don't be the person that makes that moment for somebody else. You will remember their name. You will remember where you were sitting, what clothes you were wearing, what time of day it was. You'll even have a song that's associated with that moment in life. So please do not be the person that creates that moment for someone else, because I promise you it's going to last forever. And you never know where you all might end up in 10, 15 years. That person might be Miss Tennessee. That person might be a doctor, and they have to save your life one day, save your kid's life one day. If one of those girls walked into my hospital right now and they brought their baby to me and their baby was on its last breath and I was saving it, I promise you when they walked in, I would be fully attentive to that baby, but as soon as she walked in and I saw her face, I would immediately connect her with that one time in middle school that she bullied me. It's just a fact, and I'm here today to tell you that it's all real, and we can't avoid it. Bullying is something that happens all the time, whether you know it or not. Whether you're passively bullying, if you're just saying, oh my gosh, her hair looked awful today. If you tell somebody else that, that's bullying. It is, quite frankly. A lot of things that happen, we don't really associate with bullying, but it is. Being respectful, to me, it means a lot, because there are so many things in middle school that you're going to look back in 10 years. Let's see, how many years have I been removed from middle school? 10. Exactly 10. I was in 8th grade in 2013. I graduated middle school in 2013 and started high school that fall. There are things 10 years ago that I now think are so cringy. Like, I'll think of just a random moment sitting in science class one day and I'll be like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Like, it gives you the creeps. You're like, cringe. That's normal. I promise. Be respectful to yourself. Give yourself grace. I have to forgive a lot of things that happened back in middle school. Just be respectful to myself. So definitely being respectful to yourself is very crucial in this age. And that can mean a lot of things. Self-care. Does anybody like self-care? Skincare routine, shower fizzies, or a massage, or anything like that. That's really important. You'll learn in high school, it's just going to get more stressful from here on out, so please be respectful to yourself. I think that's all I really wanted to say to you all. I do want to open the floor for questions, and really, I'm open to any question. Since I'm just sitting here, just talking to you all. I'm just a normal person. I've lived through a lot. I have a lot of experiences. If you have any questions, please don't feel intimidated to speak up. It can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about bullying or middle school or trials or anything like that. If you just have any questions about me being Miss Tennessee Volunteer or anything like that, go ahead, shoot them. Come on. Okay, I'm going to ask you all a question. Can someone raise their hand and tell me, okay, so I want 3 people to raise their hand and tell me a takeaway. I know I sat up here and rambled, but it's really what was on my heart as I was driving over here this morning, because I just remembered how much I didn't like middle school, and I know that there are plenty of other girls out there that feel the same way, and I promise you it gets better. But I want 3 people to raise their hand and tell me one takeaway. What do I mean by takeaway? Yeah, something you learned, maybe something that stuck out to you, something, yeah. Yes, that's very good. She said, and this also ties into one way of being respectful to yourself is not caring about what other people think. When those bullies are around, just cut them out. I know that's so hard to do, but in reality, that's all you have to do. Middle school boys are extremely immature. That's why girls are the best, right? Right. And one thing as girls, I think that we are held to a much higher standard as females. They get away with a lot more than we do. And that's another reason that we just have to be on top of our game with having the utmost amount of respect for ourselves and others. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I think we are the most mature gender. You have to be your own person, yes. Whoever you are, that is who you are. Don't change for anybody. Don't conform to be in a clique or anything like that. Stay true to yourself. At the end of the day, it's you that goes home with yourself. So don't try to impersonate somebody else, because you'll just end up feeling more lost. Does anybody else want to give a takeaway? I will say I do love my female girls. I love you all. That cracked me up. And sometimes it does feel like that, okay? Sometimes it does, just to be honest with you. Anybody else? Or just, yeah. That's actually a very amazing point. She had said that she thinks that sometimes boys get to do more than girls, and that's completely true in today's society. And that's one reason, as Miss Tennessee, that I like to do is to tell girls also that they can do anything they want. Being respectful to yourself, to know that you can do anything you want and you are not limited by what a man says or what their standards are. You are completely equal, okay? And you can do anything you want, and that's completely in scope of being respectful to yourself.
So I have a question, kind of playing off of that. Can you tell us a little bit about your educational journey from middle school to high school and then on into college to where you are now?
Yes. So after middle school, I went to high school, and then I was salutatorian of my class. High school was pretty rough for me as well. Just the same bullying of people only wanted to be around me for my mind, for tests, for homework. I felt really isolated in high school, but I bunkered down and I ended up salutatorian. And then after I graduated, I knew I wanted to go into the medical field, so I bunkered down and took my ACT, and I got into the University of Tennessee, Go Vols. So I went to their nursing school, spent 4 years there, made some amazing connections. And I will say, when I was in college is really when I started to find myself. I had learned that myself in the last 10 years. I didn't even know who that was. I had no sense of identity. And it wasn't until I was in college that I truly found myself and truly found my people and my passion. And that happens a lot. You will truly find yourself towards the latter end of high school and college. But I went to the University of Tennessee in the College of Nursing, graduated after 4 years, and got my first job at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. And I absolutely love education. I love sitting down. I love teaching. My mom said if I wasn't a nurse, I should be an elementary school teacher. So I kind of played on that, and now I'm studying for my doctorate at Johns Hopkins, and I'll be a professor in 2 years. I want to go back to the University of Tennessee and be a professor. So I'll be Dr. Paige Clark. I have a boyfriend of 5 years, so hopefully by that time it probably will be his last name, so it probably won't be Dr. Paige Clark. But in the world of medicine, it is highly, highly, highly male-dominated. And I love being a female that's going to have doctor in front of my name. I think that's so powerful because usually it's only a guy. Like when I get married one day, you know what my invitations are going to say? Dr. Paige Clark and Eli Jenkins. My name's going to be first because I'm going to have doctor in front of my name. I think that is so powerful. So, yes, anything that you want to do in life, I promise you, you can do it. Don't set limitations in your brain because those limitations are only going to inhibit your potential. Anybody else? Yes, please be sure. And that goes along the same lines of, she said to, before you're in a relationship with the guy, and I know that we're in that awkward time of where we start to be in relationships, please actually know if you like him or not before you actually start a relationship with someone. And also that plays along with saying no. That is one of the most important words that a girl can learn in middle school, is learning how to respectfully and confidently say no. If it just any inkling that you have, if you're not comfortable, just respectfully say no. It's as simple as that. I know it sounds a lot harder, and it is sometimes a lot harder, but it's really just as simple as saying no. Absolutely not. She said, is it bad to not know what you want to do in life? Absolutely not. When I was in middle school, I had no idea I'd turn out to be a nurse. No idea I'd turn out to be Miss Tennessee. No idea I would be in doctoral school. No, I was just worried about making the basketball team and trying to turn my homework in, and it's completely okay. You will find it out, I promise. That's something that comes with more experience. You'll find out that in middle school you start to know what you like and what you don't like, and maybe your interests. I promise they'll develop in a few years. It is completely okay not to know what you want to do. It is stressful. She said, is it hard to go in between school and work and being a state title holder? It is a lot of work. I will say it's not for the faint of heart. And I have such a passion for all three of those areas that's what really drives me. every single day. So finding something that you're passionate about will drive you through any stress that you may have. Anybody else? These are some good questions. Yeah. How did I become Miss Tennessee? That's a fun one. So, first of all, you have to be over 18, and you get to compete in a local title. So I went and won Miss Knoxville a year and a half ago, and then I was Miss Knoxville for an entire year, and then I went to Jackson, Tennessee and West Tennessee, and I competed against 35 other outstanding women like Miss Nashville, Miss Memphis, Miss UT Martin, and so we were all on stage together, and the judges, after a week of interrogating, it feels like, and being on TV on stage, they picked me to be this year's representative. So that's how that happens. And Miss Tennessee gets a bunch of cool perks. I have my own car as Miss Tennessee volunteer, and I have hair and makeup services. I get a bunch of clothes. This dress is actually from one of my sponsors, so it's a lot of fun things. And I also got nearly $15,000 for school. So one big thing about Miss Tennessee Volunteer is you get scholarship money, so to pay for my education. Yeah. Tips for someone who wants to go into the medical field. That's a really good question. Definitely keep your studies up. Being in the medical field is not for the faint of heart, and going through that process of schooling, you really have to be at the top of your game academic-wise. And also, if you're a good writer, that's also a plus because you're going to write a lot of essays to get into school. So, and also, in high school, if you want to explore jobs in the medical field, I know that some high schools offer certificates of being like a CNA and things like that. That's also a good way to start out getting some exposure. So any type of exposure you can be around the medical field to solidify that's what you want to do in life. That's a good tip as well. But my big tip is your studies. Do we have a time? What time are we going to? Okay, about 5 more minutes. That's okay. Any last other thoughts? I hope I didn't put you all to sleep. Any last questions? Well, I will say it was so good to get to talk to you all. I'm so thankful that I got to talk to a group of girls. You all were absolutely sweet. I know you're quiet, but I can just feel the comforting energy, so that's always good. I just remember this is no doubt the most awkward time of your life. There's no doubt about it. And learning to give yourself grace and being respectful to yourself will just trickle down to where you're respectful to others and you're respectful to other people's things. You can't do either of those two things without first being respectful to yourself. So please give yourself some grace. You're going to figure out life, I promise. It seems like the end of the world right now. You will figure it out. You all are going to be rock stars. And I know you all are going to be great one day. So thank you so much for letting me talk to you.